So I'm Beatrice Weber. I live in Brooklyn and I am a maverick. So I love all kinds of personality tests. So when I took the test, my maverick came out super, super high. And I was not surprised. And it's always been validating for me. I guess because I come from such a rigid background that I was like, what's wrong with me? And then taking this test and being like, okay, just how I am. And I took the test twice and my two next ones came out different, but Maverick always came out on top, like sky high. So my latest test that I took in 2019, my Maverick was 36, and then it was nurturer and ruler. So those are the other two, which just feel very, very, very resonant. I write, so I've written a lot of my story. I'm a writer and a speaker, and I'm developing a course now on empowering women to share their stories, women who have been silenced to share their stories. So good to meet you all.
Okay, thank you so much for your beautiful introductions. And what I would love to go straight into, right? We're just going to jump straight into sabotages. So think pre-SMA, before you knew that you were a maverick or you're an alchemist or the other archetypes. Where was that sabotaging you? So yeah, I would just love to just dive into, how is your archetypes unknowingly sabotaging your business? And we'll just go around in the same order again.
Yeah, I can relate to what you're talking about. And one of the things for me was trusting myself that a lot of money could come in and it could come in easily. Again, because of my upbringing and messages I was taught around women being able to earn money, I didn't believe it. But if I look at large sums of money that have come in since 2018, since I joined Bootcamp, it's been incredible. Like last year when I totaled up my, how much money I had made, even though I was unemployed for half of the time, because of COVID, it was like double it was double of what I had ever earned. So like over $300,000. And this year as well, I'm looking at the money and I made this deal that just like fell into my lap of, I'm not even a real estate broker, but somehow I'm making money by selling somebody's business. And there's like this $100,000 money waiting for me, which is amazing for me to be able to just relax into that, because somehow I still have that fear. Like I'll never have enough money. I won't be able to make money, but the facts show otherwise. So, I can definitely relate to that. I think for me, one of my biggest sabotages is jumping from one thing to the next. Like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh my gosh, I could really figure that out. And then once I start actually working on it and getting into the nitty gritty and understanding it, I'm like, oh, whatever, this is boring. Like, let me do something else. So I would say like that is my biggest sabotage. Like what I've done for that is to make sure that I have steady money coming in so that I know at least, there's steady money coming in, I can pay all the bills, we're fine. But then with the things that I'm passionate about, I do a lot of that jumping around. Totally relate to the shiny object syndrome. When I'm in it, it doesn't feel like shiny object. It feels really important, right? That felt really, really good and really important. But like next week, it doesn't really feel that way. So that's really, I would say my main sabotage.
Hearing that acceptance, because the shame, that I think a few of you have touched on of going, I'm not allowed to be who I am. I'm not allowed to be this lucky, and second guessing that ability. Anyone can answer this one. I wrote my first book, Lucky Bitch, because that's what my friends were calling me. They were like, oh, you're such a lucky bitch. But even hearing that from a young age of going, oh, you think you're so good, or you think that, rules don't apply to you. It was kind of that feedback of going to second guess it. As a kid, you kind of believe in that magic. And then people tell you, hang on, not everyone's like this, or it's going to run out. And, you might have been called a flake. You might have been called a lucky bitch like me. Were there anyone can answer this one? Were there any nicknames that you had as a kid, or things that you were teased about for this magical ability that made you second guess it, whether it's shame from other people or just that shame from yourself of going, oh, I shouldn't do this?
I guess my story is a little bit different. So that's why I just want to chime in, because I come out as a very strong maverick. But for many years of my life, well into my adulthood, because of the community I was in, because of the marriage I was in, I was very shut down. So I didn't have, I can't talk to my childhood, even though I can see some of traits of Maverick showing up as a child. For the most part, most of it was shut down for decades, and it was hard. It was uncomfortable. And still now I have remnants of that show up. But, thinking back, other things in my life, outside of my business, that now I'm realizing how much of a maverick that was. Like I left my marriage literally in the middle of the night with 4 kids. And I tell everybody, never do that. That is the most dangerous thing to do. But you know what? Not only did I do that, I also ended up with custody, ended up getting a ton of money from that, which is like crazy because most people in my situation leave, lose everything. And I've just like moved ahead career-wise, business-wise. So I think have stepped into more of my maverick than I have given myself credit for. But I do want to talk to what happens when you have somebody who is not allowed to express their personality, like strictly forbidden, right? Like, how does that work? And how does that kind of play on later on? You're a child, right? And you have dreams and you have ideas, but you're shut down, right? Like I remember as a young teenager, interested in politics, interested in getting involved in different things, different ways of dressing. But because of the community, I come from such a very strict religious community, none of that was allowed. And I had to get married at 18 to a very specific kind of person in a very specific kind of marriage and perform a very specific kind of role, right? So here I was, this mother of 10 children, right, raising these children in this very strict community, but not being allowed to have interests outside of that. There was a lot of energy there, right? A lot of energy. And I ended up being a very devoted mother, spending hours and hours baking, sewing, because those were kind of permissible things within that little thing. So I would, buy patterns and make sure, find out what the latest styles are and sew my children those clothing. So I kind of found my little bubble within that. But for the most part, I didn't have that. You wouldn't look at me and say, oh my gosh, right? She's changing the world. Once I stepped out of that, I left in 2014, 2016. I just know I'm writing a book that's going to impact the world. And even, I've put articles up on Medium and I have hundreds of people going there every week. And I have no idea where they're coming. I have no idea where they're coming from. I've been, in New York Times and all different places. It just all is falling into place. So, that's, I think, a different kind of journey. I can't talk to my childhood and say that, but I think I can talk to circumstances that have happened, that really even have happened younger, or things that I've created. Like I created this leaving my house, right? I created that. I made sure I was well on my way to an MBA by the time I left, which I kind of was able to do at that point. So it's a different kind of journey, but also one that definitely is mavericky, even then, yeah.
So I just want to pivot to, there's a question I've been asking each group, as I alluded to before, about what makes you excited to join a program or a course and what turns you off?
Yeah, I mean, one big thing for me is I do need accountability. I think because of my maverick side where I'm always running all over the place, maybe some ADHD, I don't know, but definitely the maverick piece needs some accountability. So I appreciate programs that will give that. I definitely also need people that are ethical, they're ethical. They're doing what they say they're going to do. They show up in the way they're going to show up. And so interesting. I thought I was the only one that hates those long sales pages. My goodness me. I need the facts. I need to know. I need to understand. If it makes sense, I go for it. If not, not. So I can relate to that as well.
I would love to hear actually about your combination of archetypes and how that shows up for you. Because what I see sometimes is that some combinations really supercharge like the good stuff, and like, it's like, oh, well, I've got this and this, and so I'm unstoppable. But some of those things cancel each other out, and some of the things amplify your sabotages. And so, I would love to hear if you have any awareness around that, of how that is showing up for you, or if there's even just like, you're kind of ignoring some of your archetypes and you're suppressing them.
Yeah, right now my connection's good, so I can talk. Yeah, so I have, I really think about the maverick like way more than I think of the other ones. So I have maverick nurturer, at least my last result, right? Because they were pretty different. my two results, but Maverick came out like top for both of them. So now, my latest one is the Maverick Nurturer and Ruler. So I can definitely relate to the goals. And when I don't have a goal and I just went away for this weekend and try to relax, and they make it really hard to get on the internet there because it's supposed to be a yoga relaxing place. But you know what? I still managed to write 3,000 words for my book. There was like no way I was not going to. So, I can absolutely relate to that of, just having those goals and wanting to get there. I think the nurturer and the maverick, I sometimes find to be in conflict, right? Because my maverick just wants to move, just wants to create things, just wants to make things happen, but my nurturer just wants to take care, right? So that sometimes comes up in conflict. And then, also my whole history of being so heavily a nurturer, I sometimes carry resentment, from being a nurturer. Like, enough already. I don't want to do that anymore, but it's still part of who I am, will always be part of who I am. So that definitely comes up a lot. I'll think of an idea, I'll have a business idea, I really want to do it. Of course, it involves caring about people. But then I'm like, but that gets, that's not, I want to go on to the next thing. And then what do I do? What do I do with the people that I want to take care of, or the people I want to help? A lot of my struggle has been around, at the beginning of my, entrepreneurship journey, was only a nonprofit. Like, I couldn't even see myself starting an actual business. And I think that was the nurture, and probably my history around nurturing. Like, that seemed, there has to be a way for me to make money, right, with having a nonprofit, but because I want to be able to help people. And then, like, realizing it's okay to just have something because to have something, and it's okay to do something at the side to help people without needing that to be my main focus.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of people's nurturers, they trip up things around pricing and, creating programs and over delivering. That's when that nurturer side can really come in and trip things up.
And then my maverick gets really upset about that, right? Because my maverick is like, you could be making a ton of money from this. What are you doing? But the nurturer is, I just want to take care of these people, right? And they can never pay for it. So I just need to make sure that it's accessible for them.
Yeah. Thank you. I'd love to hear, and I'm sure, our Europeans probably need to go as well. But just to finish off, and I'm happy to stay a little bit longer. I don't have a meeting for half an hour, but because I want to hear so much more about you guys. You're all so fascinating. And but I would love just to tick off my little bits. What message would you have for someone who's thinking about joining SMA?
Yes, I can talk now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, I really, really enjoyed the course. Took it more than once with you. And I think the insight that you gain and the aha moments, and I would say for me, the main thing was, it was like an affirmation that it's okay to do things the way I am. Kind of gave me permission to step into those characteristics that I kind of knew, but when I see them on paper, and I read them and I know that they're me and there are other people that are like me, it's the permission part of it that I think was most important, that I gained from joining this course, and what I would tell other people as well.
Yeah, that is interesting, the partnership stuff too, and even families, like seeing how your kids might be showing up. For those of you who have kids, I can see it so early in our kids. Like, I can see that our youngest Piper, she is a ruler celebrity. Like, it's undeniable that you can see that. And even just seeing where your own gaps are and knowing the words that they need to hear, like straight away, as soon as she started preschool, she's been called bossy. And I'm saying to her, you're not bossy. It's okay. But you have to sometimes, listen to what other people have to say, and try not to shame her around, like, she's like, I need my special outfit, and like, and that's really important to her as a celebrity. And reminding myself, I just need to take that extra beat to go, what do they need to hear? And I find that hard with Mark. Mark and I are both rulers, and it can create this overworking kind of cycle. But he has his celebrity as his third, and he needs to hear, you look great, babe, like, you look good. And And that just takes an extra moment to remember that, of going, wow, that's really low for me, so I don't value it. Same in like the business, neither of us have connector nurturer energy. So we have to hire people in to do customer service, because otherwise I used to, the first year I'd be like, I don't care that you can't find your link. Like, I'd just be like, I'm over that now. It's like, it's not. So you need to bring that in to round out that space. Celebrity, for me, it's easy to bring in someone to make sure that looks okay. I'm never going to do it myself. It's not natural for me to do it. So yeah, any other insights around that? Like, Beatrice, is there anything you want to share here about, like, where your low ones are? Where are your gaps? What are the things that you've had to do to overcome some of those gaps that you don't have and don't necessarily always value?
Hello, I'm back home. So yeah, I'm thinking about it, and I haven't thought about that at all, but it's interesting. Connector is low for me, and I haven't really explored, how that affects me. I know I sometimes feel that because I don't have good connecting as a strength, like, how will that impact my business if I don't have all those connections, right? And I don't have all those people, like, oh, that's something I must have in order to be successful, which I know is not true, because many, many independent people become very, very successful. But that is something that I feel like, oh, that it should be there, especially if I want to run an online business that maybe has a community, I must have that. So I'm more of a struggle in it than a resolution, to be honest.
And don't you think sometimes it is just about finding those clients who need that, right? Because I think sometimes if you're one of the archetypes that is the fast thinking, fast doing thing, we can sometimes run over the people who need a little bit more, and so, but it's just finding that right fit. And do you feel like you just have found that right fit of people who they like that part of you that has that speed?
Yeah.
Because it's hard if you have clients that then need a lot of hand holding or, consideration or pausing, because it's just not a good fit for either of you. No one's going to feel good.
Yeah.
So, are you a ruler, a connector, or a maverick? Hang on, maybe you're more of a romantic or a celebrity. Take the money personality quiz right now and find out which of the 8 money archetypes you are. And then I'm going to teach you how to profit from your strengths and make money in your business based on your natural personality. Click below and find out more.